They're fading. Their presence, their influence, their grip on your mind, slowly but surely, it's all vanishing. You may not see it yet, but the universe is already at work, erasing the ties that once held you captive, that person who once consumed your thoughts. Their energy is dissolving, their hold on you weakening with every passing moment. But here's the thing, the process isn't random. It's not just time doing the work. There are unseen forces shifting in your favor, aligning to free you from the weight of the past. But are you unknowingly slowing it down? Are your own habits, thoughts, and emotions keeping the connection alive when the universe is trying to cut the cord? This isn't just about healing, it's about acceleration, about reclaiming control, about stepping into the version of yourself that no longer waits for closure but creates it. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. One path keeps you stuck, replaying old memories, holding onto invisible threads. The other, it leads to freedom faster than you ever thought possible. The universe is already doing its part. The question is, are you ready to do yours? Because what happens next is entirely up to you. Pain has a way of making time feel heavier. Mornings feel colder, nights stretch longer, and the weight of silence grows unbearable. The absence of someone who once felt like home creates an emptiness that words can't fill. It's raw, confusing, and at times it feels impossible to escape. Some moments there's anger, other times it's regret. And then there are days when the numbness settles in, making it hard to tell which feeling is worse. No one walks away from a breakup unchanged. The bonds formed, the memories created, and the emotions invested don't just disappear overnight. It's natural to question everything: what went wrong, what could have been different, and why things had to end the way they did. But the truth is, those answers don't always bring peace. The mind searches for logic, while the heart demands closure. Yet neither can outrun the reality that some things are meant to break for something better to be built. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's not about suppressing the pain or pretending that it never happened. It's about allowing space for emotions to exist without letting them define the future. There's no right way to move on, no universal timeline, and no shortcut that makes the hurt vanish instantly. Some wounds take longer to close. Some days will feel like progress, while others may feel like setbacks, and that's okay. Growth isn't found in avoiding the pain, but in facing it, sitting with it, acknowledging its presence without letting it take over. The hardest part isn't moving on, it's allowing yourself to believe that happiness can exist beyond what was lost. Because it can, and it will. Breaking free from the past isn't just about letting go of someone else, it's also about how you choose to treat yourself in the process. Too often, the mind becomes its own worst enemy, replaying mistakes, feeding self-doubt, and punishing itself for not moving on fast enough. But healing doesn't come from self-criticism. It begins with self-compassion. Every painful emotion, every setback, every moment of weakness, it's all part of being human. There's no failure in feeling deeply, no shame in struggling, no weakness in needing time. Speaking to yourself with kindness isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. The words directed inward shape the path forward. Harshness keeps wounds open. Gentleness allows them to close. One of the most powerful ways to practice self-compassion is through mindfulness, being fully present without judgment. Thoughts will wander to the past, emotions will rise unexpectedly. But instead of fighting them or labeling them as wrong, simply acknowledging them without resistance changes everything. Breathing through the discomfort, grounding yourself in the now, and reminding yourself that healing isn't a race can shift the entire experience. Small acts of kindness toward yourself hold more power than they seem. Choosing rest instead of burnout, speaking encouragement instead of self-blame, allowing yourself to feel without guilt. These moments add up, creating a foundation strong enough to carry you forward. Healing isn't just about moving past the breakup, it's about rebuilding the relationship with yourself. A version of you exists beyond the pain, one that deserves love, care, and patience. And step by step, choice by choice, that version comes closer to the surface. Holding on feels safer than letting go, even when the past is painful, even when it no longer serves a purpose. There's a certain comfort in its familiarity. The mind clings to old conversations, past promises, and the version of someone who no longer exists. It replays what was lost, searching for answers, wishing things had gone differently. But the past is a door that only opens one way. No matter how many times it's revisited, nothing changes on the other side. Releasing attachment isn't about pretending something never mattered. It's about recognizing that what's meant to stay will never require force to remain. Growth doesn't happen by dragging old weight forward. It happens when the space left behind is filled with something new. The more energy spent holding on to what's already gone, the less is available for what's still ahead. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood parts of healing. It's not about justifying what happened. It's not about excusing hurtful actions. It's about choosing peace over resentment. Carrying anger towards someone else only keeps their presence alive in ways they no longer deserve. Letting go isn't for them, it's for the one still carrying the burden. Freedom doesn't come from waiting for an apology that may never arrive. It comes from deciding that past pain no longer has power over the present. No one else controls that choice. The grip on old wounds can loosen at any moment. The past may have shaped the journey, but it doesn't have to define the destination. Objects hold energy. A forgotten hoodie draped over a chair, a playlist filled with songs that once meant something, a drawer that still hides old letters, tickets, and notes. These things may seem harmless, but each one carries weight, a quiet pull backward, a reminder of what's no longer there. Holding on to them keeps old emotions alive, making it harder to step into something new. Letting go starts with the physical, walking through the space, noticing what still carries traces of the past, and making the choice to remove it. Some things can be donated, some thrown away, and others put out of sight until they lose their hold. It's not about erasing memories, it's about creating room for new ones. A fresh environment isn't just about appearance, it's about shifting energy, making space for a new version of life to take shape. Digital spaces hold just as much power. Old photos tucked away in hidden albums, texts and voice notes that haven't been opened in weeks but still sit there untouched. Social media connections that serve no purpose other than keeping an invisible thread intact. Every unread message, every lingering follow, every digital trace keeps the past closer than it needs to be. Removing them isn't an act of bitterness, it's an act of self-care. A fresh start doesn't happen by waiting for time to erase the past. It happens with action, with choice, with the willingness to create distance. The environment, both physical and digital, should reflect the life being built now, not the one that's already ended. Something shifts when the focus moves away from what was lost and toward what is yet to be found. A breakup doesn't just mark the end of a relationship, it marks the chance to rebuild in ways that were once overlooked. The space left behind isn't emptiness, it's an opening, an invitation to explore what life looks like without the weight of someone else's presence. Old passions that were set aside can now be revisited with fresh energy. Hobbies that once sparked joy but were forgotten in the blur of a relationship deserve attention again. Maybe it's music, art, writing, or something as simple as reading a book without distraction. Maybe it's stepping into something completely new, learning a skill, taking a trip, or trying something that always felt just out of reach. Every new experience adds a layer of depth, a reminder that life doesn't pause when someone leaves. Reconnecting with oneself is the most important part of this journey, not as a way to fill the void, but as a way to rediscover who exists outside of the relationship. What brings excitement? What fuels curiosity? What feels right when no one else's opinions are considered? Answering these questions isn't just healing, its growth. The person emerging from this chapter is not the same as the one who entered it. There's strength in every step taken forward, in every moment spent learning, creating, and rebuilding. The future isn't a continuation of the past. It's a blank page, waiting to be written with new stories, new experiences, and a version of self that is whole, independent, and thriving. Solitude can be healing, but isolation is not. The instinct to withdraw after a breakup is strong, turning down invitations, avoiding conversations, choosing silence over connection. It feels easier to retreat, to sit with the emotions alone, to process without interference. But healing isn't meant to be a lonely road. The presence of others has a way of softening the edges of grief, offering reminders that life extends far beyond a single relationship. Friends and family become the anchors in times like these, the ones who listen without judgment, who remind what laughter sounds like, who offer company even in the quiet moments. They provide a space where emotions don't have to be explained, where comfort is given without the need for words. Being around people who genuinely care creates a foundation that makes moving forward feel less daunting. Stepping back into the world may feel unnatural at first, but social connections are essential in rebuilding confidence and joy. A simple coffee outing, a group activity, or even casual conversations with new people can shift the energy from loss to possibility. Engaging in hobbies that involve others, joining a class, or saying yes to unexpected plans can lead to connections that breathe life into this new chapter. Healing happens in the presence of others. A strong support system doesn't just offer distraction, it offers reassurance that love still exists in many forms. Community is a reminder that no single relationship defines a person's worth. There is friendship, there is laughter, there is connection waiting to be embraced. And within those moments, a different kind of wholeness begins to take shape. Thoughts have a way of circling back to the past, replaying moments that no longer exist. The mind drifts between what was and what could have been, creating an endless loop of emotions that feel impossible to escape. The weight of it all can be exhausting, making it hard to focus, hard to breathe, hard to simply be. This is where mindfulness becomes a powerful tool, not to erase the past, but to break free from its grip. Staying present is not about forcing thoughts away. It's about observing them without attachment, allowing them to come and go without letting them take control. Not every thought needs to be followed. Not every memory needs to be analyzed. Learning to sit in the moment, to focus on the breath, to feel the sensations in the body, helps create distance from the chaos of the mind. Even a few minutes of stillness can bring clarity. Meditation offers a way to reset. Guided sessions, deep breathing exercises, or simply closing the eyes and listening to the natural sounds around can help quiet intrusive thoughts. A simple practice, like focusing on the inhale and exhale, counting each breath, or repeating a calming phrase, can bring the nervous system back to balance. Thoughts will still come, but they don't have to control the emotions attached to them. Stress fades when the mind is no longer battling itself. Mindfulness is not a quick fix, but a habit that builds resilience over time. The ability to return to the present moment, to find peace within, to exist without being pulled backward, this is where real healing begins. Moving forward isn't just about closing the door on the past, it's about deciding what comes next. After the weight of a breakup, it's easy to focus on what went wrong, to dwell on the pain, to replay every moment that led to the ending. But the most important shift happens when attention turns to what should be different in the future. Clarity isn't just about knowing what no longer works, it's about defining what does. Reflecting on what truly matters in a relationship creates a foundation for something better. It's not just about listing qualities in another person, but also about recognizing personal needs, values, and boundaries. Genuine connection isn't built on filling a void, it's built on alignment, on mutual respect, on a shared vision for growth. Looking back, patterns start to emerge. The things that were tolerated but shouldn't have been, the compromises that led to self-sacrifice, the moments that felt right but were rooted in temporary emotion rather than lasting compatibility. These realizations shape the future. Setting intentions goes beyond relationships. It's about creating a vision for life as a whole, where energy is spent, how happiness is cultivated, what kind of experiences are worth pursuing. Every choice made from this point forward leads somewhere. Without direction, it's easy to fall into the same cycles, to repeat history, to accept less than what is truly wanted. A clear path leads to better outcomes, not by luck, not by waiting, but by actively choosing to move with purpose. What's ahead is shaped by today's decisions. The more aligned those decisions are with the future that's wanted, the sooner it becomes reality. Growth happens in ways that aren't always visible at first. The small shifts in thought, the quiet moments of realization, the choices that seem insignificant but slowly change everything. Healing isn't just about getting over the past, it's about stepping into something greater. The pain that once felt unbearable starts to lose its grip. The weight of old emotions becomes lighter. The version of self that was buried beneath heartbreak begins to rise again. Every step taken releasing attachments, practicing self-compassion, clearing out the old, embracing the new moves things forward faster than it seems. The universe responds to action. It removes what no longer belongs, but only when there's a willingness to let go. Moving on isn't about waiting for time to do the work. It's about choosing to reclaim power, to shift focus, to create space for something better. What's ahead is far greater than what's been left behind. And every effort made, every intention set, every piece of the past released is proof that the future is already unfolding in the right direction. If this video helped, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. There's more to come, and you don't want to miss it.